Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is TowerGate Day number 741, April the 4th, 2019, Thursday. Thank you so much for tuning in. Boy, this week's moving by pretty quickly, wouldn't you say? Seems like it anyway. Okay, so quite a few things to cover today. A lot of items, nothing terribly major, but a lot of important items to cover. And it's crazy as usual because we're talking about the demo commies, and we know, of course, that they're nuts. So there'll be a lot of nutty news today as well. Let's go ahead and get started here north of the border. Of course, we do have a lot of people here from Canada that watch this channel, and we do keep track of things going on in Canada. Most of you are familiar with the situation going on in Canada with the Prime Minister there, Justin Trudeau, and he's been involved in this controversy because he directed some obstruction in some legal matters, and he's had people in his own government, his own cabinet, have resigned and come out pretty much on the opposite end of where he is. And so it's not quite coming to a head yet, but it's probably going to get there, and it doesn't look good for Justin Trudeau. But as things get worse and worse, he continues to take more irrational moves. So it appears now that Justin Trudeau has banished two foreign ministers. That would be Jody Wilson-Raybould and, of course, Jane Philpott. He's banished them from the Liberal caucus for non-compliant behavior. Now, both of these women have exposed how Trudeau demanded that the Attorney General drop a criminal prosecution to serve his political interest. And so this is what's going on. It continues to play itself out, and it's getting particularly ugly now. And I don't know how much longer this is going to drag out, because quite honestly, I thought a couple of weeks ago this thing was about to come to a head, but it just continues to linger and linger. And but you got to think at some point this thing is going to shake itself out, and I'm not really sure, if he's going to survive this or not. I don't live in Canada, so I don't have the inside skinny, but I'll certainly tell you that, it seems like when you read these stories coming out of Canada, it seems like they've got some pretty good slam dunk evidence. I mean, they've got these two women and others, cabinet level people, basically saying, yeah, he directed these individuals to obstruct justice on this case. And it seems like they've got a lot of evidence. But so far, it's not played itself out yet. I'm not aware of Trudeau being under, criminal investigation, although he may be. I'm not sure exactly how it works in Canada with how you remove a prime minister, but I would not be the least bit surprised. Certainly, I think that this will ruin any chance he has of being reelected, and I'm not sure when he's up for reelection. I think I heard that it may be later this year, like November or something, but I'm not sure, so don't take that for sure. But anyway, I think that this is probably the end for Trudeau politically. As far as I don't think there's any chance he's going to get a second term or anything. I think this probably is going to take care of him, and rightly it should. Again, I don't understand all the details of this case, but I have been reading about it over the past several weeks, and it seemed like it was kind of hitting critical mass about 2 weeks ago, and then it kind of calmed down. He went on vacation, actually. I think he left the country, went on vacation, and now it's kind of back. So, and of course he makes this move today, which is more of a political move, but he's certainly sending a message to other people. Hey, don't cross me. I'll banish you from the Liberal Party or whatever. So, obviously, I don't know if this is a move of desperation or if it's a move of strength. I'm not really sure. I don't live in Canada, but certainly we'll continue to watch this story. And we've just been so busy, I haven't had time to actually get to it, but I have been reading about it for the past several weeks. So just giving you an update if you are someone who follows what's going on. Justin Trudeau firing or basically banishing two foreign ministers, Jody Wilson-Raybould, Jane Philpott, from the Liberal caucus for non-compliant behavior. Sounds awful authoritarian to me. We'll see what happens. Well, next we have our own a-hole on this side of the border. That would be, of course, Jerry Nadler. This guy is literally nuts. So Jerry Nadler's committee today, the House Judiciary Committee has voted to authorize a subpoena for the full Mueller report and all of its underlying evidence. And, of course, the vote was along party lines. And so what we're looking at here is, I'm really surprised, actually, that he did this, because, I mean, in a way, I'm looking at this and going, you know what? I don't know if this helps Nadler or not. Yeah, I know that there's probably a ton of stuff in this report. It's 400 pages long. There's going to be a lot of other stuff in there. I'm sure you can get in there and nitpick some things here and there and get some talking points. But it's still not going to lead to him, Trump being impeached. There was no crime. Because even if Nadler's committee found what they thought was a smoking gun, where does it end up? Well, they do their investigation. The House and the Senate, they can't, really do anything. I mean, they can try to have an impeachment vote or something, but it's going nowhere. And if they want to have like a criminal investigation, well, that decision is made by the Department of Justice. Well, the Attorney General just said no collusion, and our finding is that there was nothing that meets the level of obstruction. It's done deal. It's over. So you're certainly not going to get anywhere going through the DOJ. So, you can only assume that this is all political, which I'm sure 99% is all political with Jerry Nadler. What he's asking Barr to do, though, is to break the law, because they never release grand jury testimony, because you have people that get caught up in the investigation. They're innocent. They're witnesses. They go in front of a grand jury. They give a testimony, and they're supposed to be protected if they've done nothing wrong. What Nadler wants to do is drag these people out, shine the spotlight on them, and essentially this is a violation of their civil liberties. This is it goes against the law of what the Attorney General is supposed to do. He's not supposed to release grand jury testimony, and they're not supposed to release classified information, things and such. But what Nadler wants is all that stuff. He wants it all, which Barr really cannot do without breaking the law. And Nadler knows it. So what's he doing? Is this just to set up a political fight? Now, I'm not so sure that this is going to backfire on Nadler, because, as it says here, he doesn't just want the entire report completely, including jury testimony and everything else, and all the classified information. He wants all the underlying evidence. Well, I mean, if you go to that length, that's what the Republicans want to see. If you go to that length, I mean, you're kind of we know what happened here. It was an attempted coup. You're going to essentially, Nadler is essentially going to force Barr to produce the Mueller report, which is going to show the evidence of a deep state coup. It's like Mueller's got to be scratching his head and going, what the hell is Nadler thinking? I mean, so it's, I don't know. I don't really know that this helps the Democrats. I mean, yeah, they're going to get some little talking points and some things that they can pick at, but ultimately this will do more harm than good. Because if you're going to get the evidence behind the whole thing, you're going to find out that there was nothing there. And in the process of finding out there was nothing there, you're going to find out all the things that they did, which many of these things we've already heard about. And there are some very strong armed tactics that were used. There was a lot of tactics used that you wouldn't expect that would be used in this type of situation. And this would all come out. So, I'm not so sure that this doesn't do more harm than good to Nadler. Now, Nadler may already be thinking in his head, well, I know I'm not going to get all this stuff, but it's simply a political. He wants to have a fight. He just wants to have some more chaos and controversy, something to keep, the media stirring. Maybe he wants to take our mind off the other investigation, which he knows that people like Lindsey Graham and Meadows and Jordan are trying to get, and which Barr may deliver on. So it could be just a way to muddy the water, or cloud up the situation, a smoke and mirror routine to get people so they don't know what investigation is what and who's doing what. Maybe just confuse the issue. It's really hard to say where Nadler's going with this, because, what he's requesting, I think, could hurt him more than it could help him, and certainly hurt Democrats, and certainly hurt Uncle Bob, the executioner, Comey, the FBI, the DOJ. They're the ones they're going to come out smelling bad in this deal, not Trump. They may get a little bit of stuff that they can pick on with Trump, but mostly what they're going to get is exposing the tactics of the special counsel. And we're also probably going to learn when Uncle Bob realized that the dossier was a bunch of shit. What happens if the release of this information gives us that information, and we find out based on the release of all these documents when Uncle Bob actually realized that the dossier was BS? And what if he kept the investigation going on for a year, 15 months, 16 months, whatever, after he realized that the dossier was BS? What happens then? Not good. I'm sure if anybody's sweating bullets right now, the last guy in the world that wants all this stuff released is Uncle Bob. That'd be my guess. So it's really hard to say where this is all going to go. Obviously, it's mostly political, but, Nadler, he's barking up a tree here. I'm not sure if he's going to like what he finds if all this stuff comes out, which it probably won't, because, Barr has pretty much said what he's going to do. And, this could also just be a classic case of, Barr is now working for Trump. He accepted a job that Trump offered him as Attorney General, and so now he's one of the people around Trump that Trump appointed, and so they're going to go after him like they have everyone else, because it's part of their overall strategy to attack anyone that will go to work for Trump, so that they can scare people in the future who might think who Trump may offer a position, and he wants some people to be, scared off and think, no, I'd love to work for you, Mr. President, but everyone who goes to work for you gets investigated, and I'm not really interested in having my life ripped apart just to go work in your administration. Otherwise, I would. So I think some of this may be just to attack Barr because, hey, he's the Attorney General. Trump offered him the job. He accepted. That means he's probably on Trump's team. Therefore, he must be attacked. So maybe it's something like that. It's really hard to say, but I would not be the least bit surprised to see this totally backfire on Jerry Nadler. He's a bit nutty. Yes, he is. Well, I'll tell you what, Commie Bernie is killing it in fundraising. Killing it. He, of course, has raised more than $9 million so far, and a lot of it in small donations. And he's got repeat donations. These are people who have signed up and are committed to donating a certain amount of money every month. So he continues to build his war chest, and there's no real Democrats on the other side who can keep up with him. Now, Beto could tap into some of his own money, or daddy's money, or his wife's father's money. That's possible. If creepy Joe Biden throws his hat in the ring, he'll walk into all that establishment money. He might, maybe that's what he's thinking. But the fact of the matter is, almost all those other candidates, Gillibrand and the salad lady, Klobuchar, all these people, they're just not raising the money. Sanders is he's raising more money than all the other 7 combined. That's the kind of money he's raising, just like he did last time. So we'll keep our eye on the Commie Bernie, and we'll see how this thing goes. You got to wonder at what point they're going to start to try to cut his legs out from underneath him. Right now they're busy taking out Biden, but at some point you got to think that they're going to go after Bernie as well. Let's see. Well, speaking of the skateboarder, Bobby O'Rourke, he too has now endorsed reparations. Man, that's a political loser. That is a big, fat political loser. This issue came back, I remember in the 90s, people were dropping this, and man, it's very unpopular. Any Democrat that goes out on the national stage and, not so much in the primaries, but because it'll work in the primaries on their base, but in the general election, if you start talking about reparations, you are done, man. You are done. That could result in a massive blowout. The FBI has refused a request from the Federalist for emails sent to and from CNN on the day of the pre-dawn raid on Roger Stone. Wonder why? These are the exact same people that tell us when they pull us over that and they want to search our car, and we say, well, I don't think you have probable cause, and then they give you the old line, well, if you have nothing to hide, then you should have nothing to worry about. These are the same people that might knock on your door and want to come in and search your house, and you say, well, you have no reason, go get a search warrant, and they're like, oh, that's a hassle, but, if we need to, we can, but, hey, if you have nothing to hide, then, you shouldn't have any problem with us searching, right? But when you try that on them, they get all batshit crazy, which is exactly the argument that you should use. Why is the FBI? What have they got to hide? If the FBI has nothing to hide, then they should have no problem. This is not national security. It has nothing to do with national security. We just want to have any emails sent to and from CNN on the day of the pre-dawn raid on Roger Stone. Why should that be a problem? Apparently it is a problem. I think it's pretty obvious that there was clear coordination between Uncle Bob the Executioner's team, probably Mr. Weissman making that arrangement, and CNN. Maybe it was Clapper, who knows. But I think it's pretty obvious that there was some sort of collaboration there by that reporter from CNN on the Roger Stone early morning raid. You have to be a nut or a fool or ignorant or something not to understand that. You can see the camera crew and how the camera crew was treated. Any other situation, the cops would have shown up and told that reporter to move. Move your car, move your camera, move your shit, get it out of the way. This is a, it's a raid, this is a police operation, and you're in the way, you can't be here. No. That cameraman had complete carte blanche. The cops rolled up, he casually got out of his car, got his camera out, he was waiting, he was ready. He was treated like a VIP. He was actually able to go in the house and record video inside the house. There's a lot more to be learned from this, and I certainly would expect that this is going to end up in court. I would have to think so. And the court should rule that they have to turn this stuff over. It's not national security. Well, let's see. Oh boy, couldn't go a day without a Kamala Harris quote. Oh my God, this woman's delusional. But in this particular case, she may be telling the truth and revealing some things that we probably all suspected. Something I occasionally joke about. I literally joke about this. I tell jokes about this, but it appears it's true. Check this out. Kamala Harris says that, quote, Trump has caused a lot of us to go through individual and group therapy to feel despair and depression and anxiety and fear. Oh, God. Keep in mind, this is someone who's running for president. She wants to run the country. You got to be pretty tough to run a country like the United States of America. It's a pretty tough world, right? So why in the world would you want to put a person in that position who just based on the fact that the previous election didn't turn out the way she liked, and because some guy won the election who she doesn't like, based on that, she's had to go through individual and group therapy. She feels despair and depression, anxiety and fear because of an election. These people are not very well adjusted. Clearly they have problems. But it's just kind of funny to hear Kamala Harris come out and admit something that I've been joking about. I've been joking about this. But no, folks, it's serious. Kamala Harris, along with, I guess, many of these other liberals, they are actually getting individual and group therapy. They're in a state of despair and depression, anxiety and fear because of an election. Oh my God, these people got a lot of problems. Okay, so about a week or two, maybe no more than 2 weeks ago, a little more than a week, less than 2 weeks, I reported to you that the Portland police in Portland, Oregon have finally grown sick and tired of being told to stand down while Antifa assaults people in the streets. And so they had a bunch of Portland cops quit. Just quit, up and quit. And so they have a lot of openings in Portland for cops. So they have 120 vacancies that they need to fill. Well, guess what? They had 60 people apply. 60 people applied. Only 3 of 60 passed their background check. Only 3 of 60. Well, they need 120 cops. They got 3. That's not good. Now, I don't know why. I mean, we're talking about Portland here. I mean, I don't know why they just don't deputize Antifa. I mean, the way they treat Antifa, they let them walk through the city, assaulting people, doing whatever they want to do, blocking traffic. I mean, it seems like they are the law in Portland. So I don't know why they just don't deputize Antifa. That city is unbelievable. Been destroyed, by the way. Portland, what a sad situation. To have seen this city, used to be a great city, and it's just been destroyed by these people. I mean, the left is just, these are destructive people, man. They really are. Thank God I don't live in a liberal hellhole like that. I'm glad I live in one of the most conservative districts in the entire country. This stuff would never happen here. I can assure you of that, man. Thank God. And people wonder why, oh, yeah, my buddy's, man, you got to come down, move down here to Florida, move to here, move to there. I was like, I don't know, man. The way things are going, I'm thinking I might want to sit tight right here. At least I know I'm in friendly territory. Our sheriff has said, ain't no way he's taking anybody's guns. He doesn't care what law they pass. He's like, you can go and pass any damn law you want. Here in District 8, Butler County, we're going to follow the Constitution. We ain't taking anybody's guns. And if you try to take our guns, I'll deputize every damn gun owner in the county. That's what he said. He'll deputize us all. They'll have a war. They come here, man, with that kind of garbage. My friends, I was so happy to stumble upon this article today on Gateway Pundit. They're catching up. They're catching up to me. They're still pretty far behind, but they are catching up. So Gateway Pundit put up a story today. There's not a lot of detail in it, really, anything new. It's just the fact that we're finally seeing the narrative here that I've been putting out for a long, long time. And so the title of this article is, quote, "It's time for Hillary Clinton to answer for her role in the deep state coup." Oh, yeah. Yes, it is. Because as I've said, this was a rotten Reverend Clinton operation. She planned, directed, organized, and controlled the entire thing. And we have more and more evidence every day that this is the fact. You notice how she's been very quiet about the Spygate or Russiagate story lately. Back when it was first breaking, and she was the first one to drop, her and her campaign people were the first ones to talk about all this stuff. Now, you don't hear a peep out of any of them. They're being very quiet for some reason. So they just make note in this article that Hillary came up with the scheme. Yes, she did. She's the one who first floated Trump-Russia, the Trump-Russia scam in August of 2016. That's absolutely correct. I do remember it well. And she tweeted out on August 6th of 2016, "Seriously, what is going on with Trump and Russia?" Now keep in mind, August 6th, nobody was really talking much about Trump and Russia. And so she sends out this tweet. And then it was just one after another. And then Robbie Mook sent out tweets. And other people in her campaign sent out tweets. They are the ones who really started all this Trump-Russia chatter on social media. Started with the rotten Reverend Clinton and that tweet. Now, the funny thing is that when she sent out that tweet, "Seriously, what is going on with Trump and Russia?" back on August 6th of 2016, we now know the answer to that question because of the Mueller report and all the other things we've covered here. And the answer to that question, Reverend, what's going on with Trump-Russia? Nothing. Nothing was going on with Trump-Russia. So if there was nothing going on with Trump-Russia, why the tweet? Someone should ask the rotten Reverend Clinton that question. What prompted you to send out that tweet that day? Now, maybe she was getting some information from the intelligence community, the FBI, Christopher Steele, Confusion GPS, Alexander Chalupa, the Ukrainian parliamentary member, the woman with her little team that came over. Maybe from Senator Magoo. Who knows? But somebody was whispering in the rotten Reverend Clinton's ear as early as August 6th of 2016. She obviously knew something because she asked the question, what's going on with Trump-Russia? Very good question, because there was nothing going on with Trump-Russia. So why are you asking about it? Yes, indeed. These are the type of questions the rotten Reverend Clinton needs to be asked under oath in front of a grand jury. This is hers. She owns this. And they were all working for her, hoping to be rewarded with high-level cabinet positions and various other things from the rotten Reverend Clinton, because they basically had her framed. Let's go in and remind her. Comey could have walked into her office the day after the election and said, "By the way, Reverend, I still got all those files. You know, I exonerated you, but I still got all the stuff, and I even got more. I could say, hey, we just found some new stuff, and I could have you indicted tomorrow. Unless, of course, you make me FBI director for life." Yep, a lot of people had a lot of things on Hillary, and it wasn't the Russians. It was the FBI. So, as they point out in the story, the rotten Reverend Clinton and her crew manufactured the big lie and then spread it themselves using Confusion GPS. Oh, and by the way, we talked yesterday about the fact that we've now identified the woman who actually was the tipster to the FBI about the Trump Tower server communicating with Alpha Bank server in Russia, which turned out to be, again, a big lie. This is what Hillary Clinton was actually tweeting about. It was about this Trump Tower, Trump server communicating with this Alpha Bank, which turned out to be a hoax. So again, someone was whispering in the Rotten Reverend Clinton's ear, and it was probably this woman, Jean Camp, who reported this to the FBI and to the Hillary Clinton campaign. So this is probably who she had working for her. And, you know, it's just more and more evidence like that, but kind of lost track of something else I was thinking of. Oh, well, I'll get back to it. But anyway, that's what's going on there. Yeah, oh, I was going to tell you about the person who actually fed that tip to the FBI. So this woman, Jean Camp, she informs the Clinton campaign about this server in Trump Tower supposedly communicating with this Russian bank, Alpha Bank. But the person who actually walked the tip into the FBI was not Camp. No. It was Hillary's lawyer, Michael Sussman. So clearly, Camp went to the Hillary Clinton campaign, gave them this information, and the Clinton campaign used their lawyer from Perkins Coie, Mr. Sussman, to hand walk this information in to General Counsel Baker, Comey's lawyer, at the FBI. Proving once again that the Rotten Reverend Clinton had a direct pipeline into the FBI, and I think it's not going to be too long till we're going to find that she had a direct pipeline into the CIA as well. And probably, maybe, very likely, a direct pipeline to Mr. Downer, to Christopher Steele, and possibly Misfit. Remember, Misfit, his connections to Western intelligence and Western governments is through the U.S. State Department. Hillary's former stomping grounds. Everywhere you look, everything points back to the Rotten Reverend Clinton. Well, we have that Marxist Pope, again, Pope Francis, claiming that capitalism is the cause for the massive migration problems, and the reason that these people are flocking these countries and trying to go to, countries like ours or other places in Europe. But I think he's talking specifically about our situation right now, people coming up from South America. So Pope Francis wants to blame capitalism for the massive migration issue. Now, this guy has got to be a total freaking moron. I mean, you have to be a complete moron to make a statement like that. Because all you need to do is ask two simple questions to really understand this how moronic this is. The first question you have to ask yourself, okay, so these people are fleeing these countries. Well, what kind of countries are they fleeing, Mr. Pope? They are fleeing communist and socialist countries, Mr. Pope. They're fleeing these hellholes, which are socialist and communist countries. And where are they trying to get to? What country are they fleeing to, Mr. Pope? Well, America. Which is what? A capitalist country. So on one hand, we got the Pope saying that they're fleeing their countries and blaming capitalism, when in fact the countries they're fleeing because they're failed countries, and they are socialist and communist countries, and they are flocking to and fleeing to America, which is a capitalist country. They're flocking and leaving away from socialism, trying to get to capitalism. Yet this moron has the audacity to try to make the argument that he's blaming capitalism for why they're having this massive migration. I mean, this guy's a complete nut. He's ignorant. He's too stupid to be the Pope. My God. This world's coming unglued with stupidity. Like I said before, we need a law to try to stop stupidity or something, a program or something. It's taking over the country. Stupidity. Well, this is something that's come out of the pre-step thing, and we've heard this before, but in case you didn't hear it before, I'll tell it to you again. Of course, Bill Priestep, when he was being questioned by the Congress, he said in his statement that the affair between Peter Ben Strokenus and Lisa Page made them vulnerable to foreign intel sources. Keep in mind, he was Peter Strzok's boss, and he was asked about this, and he said, yeah, I heard about it, And he said, I heard about it from, I think, this FBI agent, Michael, what's his name? Forget his name now. But Priestep heard about it, and he did mention it to Peter's Been Stroking Us, and I think Lisa Page as well. He didn't jump up their heinies about it, but he just said, hey, I'm aware, I'm hearing about you guys maybe like having an affair, and that could be a problem. Don't let it interfere with your work or whatever. And that's pretty much where he left it. But yeah, he said he did feel that it could make both Strzok and Page vulnerable to foreign intel services. So I'm watching a video last night, and they're kind of debating over the dossier and the insurance policy, talking about the insurance policy. For a long time, people wondering, what's the insurance policy? Some people think it was the FISA page, Carter Page FISA warrant. Some people think it was, the Papagalopoulos. Some people think it's this. Some people think it's that, talking about what the insurance policy was. And I always thought that the insurance policy was just a Mueller investigation to get an investigation to continue on. But, the question that I look at here, it's not so important what the specific thing, because it was probably a combination of all these things, of what the insurance policy was. The question that you want to ask is why the insurance policy and why it was so important. Well, why do you need an insurance policy? An insurance policy is to insure you against something bad happening. Tornado, storm damage, you die early, you get in a car accident, whatever. Insurance is there to cover for you if something bad happens. Okay, so that's the important question I think that you have to focus on here regarding the question of this insurance policy. So to me, it seems pretty logical and pretty obvious, I think, common sense, that what they were talking about, regardless of what specific thing it was that they were doing that you could, say it was the insurance policy, the big question is why the insurance policy, and that's the question you need to ask. And I think what we're looking at here is that at some point they're pulling off this. They've exonerated the rotten Reverend Clinton. Now they're going after Trump, and they see though that the polls are tightening and that they're not having that much effect, and that they're not having as much success as they would hope in hurting Trump. He's continuing to gain, and it looks like there could be a close race coming up, and that Clinton's not going to walk away with it. And so Peter's Been Stroking Us is simply saying, hey man, Hillary should win, but we can't take any chances. We need an insurance policy. And I think what he was talking about here is that, the fact is, why did they need an insurance policy? Well, they needed an insurance policy to protect them from what they had done. They knew that Trump wins the election. It's not going to be too hard or too long for him to go back and find out all the illegal things that they did. The illegal FISA warrants, national security letters, using the dossier, planting spies in the campaign, all the unmaskings, and all the things that they did that were probably part of the insurance policy. But the most important thing, why they had to have an insurance policy. It was the insurance policy was a policy to protect them from being, incriminated for the crimes they committed. Because if Trump wins the election, now they did all that illegal stuff. And so they need to do something to make sure that even if he wins, that they can get him out of office before he can get the goods on them and the evidence of all the things that they did. So I think that that's what we're talking about with the insurance policy, and why they needed it. An insurance policy is probably more important than what it specifically was. I think they needed it because they realized all the criminal acts that they had perpetrated on Trump and his team, and they knew that if he won, that they had to cover all that up. And I think that that's what the insurance policy is all about, covering their ass for all the things that they did. And Mueller was the person, I think, who was carrying out the insurance policy. Confusion GPS received over $4 million from Soros-funded organizations, and they're still continuing to receive that money today, and the investigations still continue to this day, because one of the main groups that's driving this is that guy we talk about all the time, this Daniel Jones, this former FBI guy, was on the staff for Senator Turn In Your Guns, Mr. and Mrs. America Feinstein, and this continues to this day. I mean, it never stopped. Never stopped. It continues to this day.